really going on in front of you. Where are you going? How would you like to come in and find your place looking like that?
Excuse me, madam. Excuse me, was it you who rang Sun Hill?
Yeah, that's how desperate I've got. It's the third time.
And the neighbours, they didn't see who did it?
How could they see anything when they're always looking the other way? How can they see anything when they've always got paper bags over their heads? Suppose I shouldn't complain about paint spray. They smeared the place with something a lot worse last time. But I am complaining.
Yeah, I know. Lovely little kid. You're right there. Yes, yours, I take it.
Shouldn't he be?
Have you lived here long, Mrs.
Pauline Parker. And it's not Mrs. Couple of months.
Well, you know what the kids are like on this estate.
What's that supposed to mean? Grin and bear it?
No, of course not.
Third time in a week?
Yes, I know, but...
Happens to you as well, does it? I was beginning to think it was just me who'd been singled out. That's what living on your own does for you. You get paranoid.
Any reason why they should single you, eh?
I wonder.
Afternoon. I'm looking for the caretaker, but he doesn't seem to be in his flat.
Oh, he could be anywhere, that one.
Off to pastures new, eh? Your neighbour, Pauline Parker, you know, the young woman in number 29 with the little boy, she's had her place vandalised.
Well, it weren't us.
No, it's all right. You're not on my list of suspects. But did you see anything? I mean, did you see anyone hanging about?
There's always yobbos hanging around here, spraying everything that moves. Why do you think we're getting out? Because we're sick of it, that's why.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, didn't you report the vandalism?
Would it have helped?
Hiya, Sonia. How you doing?
Fine, thanks, Barry.
I know her a favour. Could she do very well?
Here, lads, brace your up, done it to know who is getting his leg over, eh?
Who?
You don't know. Well, it's only Terry Leonard, isn't it?
Terry Leonard? That's slag.
Yeah, I know. Look, I saw him coming out of the front door the other morning together, looking, oh, you know.
Terry Leonard scored with our Sonia.
Yeah, and who was it said crime don't pay, eh? Like,
Looking for gainful employment?
yeah, I just brought some bodies in, Skip.
Yeah, well, don't look so smug. Go off and get some more. Right. Hey, I heard Terry Leonard's name mentioned. What's all that about?
Well, according to Reg, he's intimate with our Sonia.
Sonia? Sonia Gifford? Typist?
Yeah, makes you sick, doesn't it?
Hollis and housewives can spread gossip, but not you two. You've got better things to do. Go on, off you go.
Sergeant.
Terry Leonard? I thought he was doing time for armed robbery.
No, that's brother George.
And young Terry?
Chip off the old block. GBH and a string of other convictions. But Sonia's a nice girl. She shouldn't be hanging around with Terry Leonard. She could get thumped or something worse.
The admin manager should really deal with this. I'm busy right now, Bob. Could I leave you to have a word with Barbara?
Ah, the elusive Mr. Milner. Found you at last. Remember me, Ron Smollett? What's all this then? Desert Island Discs? Don't mind if I take it off, do you? Yeah, I dropped round for a chat when I first took over this beat.
Come to waste some more of me time, have you? That's thoughtful.
One of the tenants has had her front wall and windows sprayed with paint. Pauline Parker.
Again?
You know she's been having problems then?
Of course I know. Who do you think's expected to scrub it off?
But you don't know who's responsible for it?
No, I don't.
There haven't been any suspicious characters hanging around the flats?
There's suspicious characters living in the flats.
What were you doing the other times our flat was vandalised? Or were you keeping your head down then as well?
If I keep my head down, it's 'cause I'm working.
But you're a caretaker.
Right, caretaker, not security guard. Catching hooligans is your job.
Come on, Mr. Milner. I mean, you strike me as a man who doesn't miss much, eh? Anything.
There's the bloke in the motor.
What bloke?
Don't know his name. Turns up in a G-Reg BMW, black. The car, that is. Bowls up and has a good nose around.
When was he last here?
Yesterday, or maybe the day before.
Well, which?
I don't keep a diary.
Bastards! Bastards! I'll kill them!
It's all right, all right.
Well, they threw a brick through the window. They could have hit Robbie.
Yeah, come on, let's go back inside now. Sierra Oscar from 330 receiving.
Go ahead, Ron.
Request assistance number 29 Sopwith Court on the Jasmine Allen.
Narika's not far from you. We'll give her a shout.
Thanks. I've got a description of a suspect.
Barbara,
Hey, Bob.
have you got a moment?
Sure, come in.
Secret admirer? Not Mr. Brownlow, I hope.
So what's the problem? I assume it is a problem. You've got that look on your face.
Mr. Munro has asked me to talk to you about one of your typists, Sonia Gifford.
Honest, Reg, your handwriting's worse than a doctor's. How am I supposed to type up your notes if I can't even read them?
Yeah, well, I have got a very individualistic style.
You can say that again.
But look, I'm not here to win any handwriting prizes. I'll leave that up to you civvies. No, us at the sharp end have got much more important priorities. Let's nick them villains, that's what I'm about.
Well, you won't catch any villains in here, Reg.
Well, no, maybe not, but I might pick up some inside information.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, just a joke.
Are you being snide about Terry?
Yeah, well, look, I did have a run-in with his brother.
Look, I know all about his family, but he didn't choose his relatives, so just give him a break. Don't start making out he's a criminal.
Of course, I've no authority to interfere in the private lives of my staff.
I appreciate it's a delicate situation, but all the same.
You're worried about her having access to confidential information.
Right.
Well, I think we should keep it unofficial at this stage.
Agreed.
I'll have a discreet word with her and check whether it's true. And if it is, ask how she'd feel about a transfer away from Sun Hill. The Yard, perhaps. A department where she wouldn't be handling confidential stuff.
Sounds like a painless solution.
Well, it will be, if she doesn't object to the idea.
Well, can she object?
To being shunted around? Oh, yes, she can object. She's a civilian, Bob. She's got rights.
Right, Ron? No sign of your vandal anyway. Do you want me to keep looking?
No, thanks. I'll take a scout around myself. Would you mind staying there with Pauline?
Yeah, all right.
Thanks, Mariga.
Oh dear. Fell on this, did we? Some people might call that poetic justice. Up you get, son.
Yeah, OK, I'll ask her. Pauline, do you know a boy called Jason Davis? Lives just round the corner. No. We think he's the one that's been giving you the treatment.
He'll need treatment if I get hold of him.
You can't think why he'd pick on you.
I'd have thought you'd know why.
What, because of Robbie? I think you're jumping to conclusions.
How do you cope with it? Pretend it doesn't exist? Or pretend it doesn't get you narked?
I'm sure it's not that, Pauline. It's just some idiot kid.
I understand what it feels like now. Being on the wrong end of prejudice.
Look, if you're really worried, couldn't you get the council to rehouse you?
I like it here. It's easier with the pushchair. I had to practically sleep with the mayor to get a ground floor flat. Yeah, it's a bit cold.
Thanks.
Oh, look, it's not the flat I'm cheesed off with. It's the slime balls who vandalise it and the neighbours who just let it happen. I suppose you just think I'm paranoid.
You're angry. You got a right to be.
You married?
Eh? Me? Nah.
Engaged?
Yeah, sort of.
You mean you've got an understanding?
Yeah.
One day you'll be throwing in your lot with your bloke. Living together, kids, sharing a meal in the evenings.
We'll be lucky. How was our work?
I had an understanding once. With Robbie's father. Till he realised there was more to being a dad than playing choo-choo trains. And then he was off.
Typical bloke.
Still, you can't always get what you want. What's important is you want what you've got. I want what I've got. They won't drive us out.
What's it all about then, Jason? Throwing bricks through people's windows, redecorating their walls,
It was just a laugh.
Yeah, not very funny, was it? Why always the same victim?
It wasn't just...
Oh, it wasn't just Pauline Parker, then? You mean there were other targets? Like the elderly couple who had to move out because they couldn't take it anymore?
It wasn't just me.
who else was involved, son?
Well, go on. Tell the officer.
I can't. Why can't you tell me, Jason?
Cut me.
Who will?
Don't be stupid. Whoever it is you're protecting, they're not worth it.
Oh, no?
Of course not. Dropping you in it. He must be scum.
That never stopped you diving in bed with him.
You mean it's John?
John who?
Don't tell him.
Mrs. Davis.
You better not.
John Quincy. I was involved with him, briefly. He's a swine. I should have guessed he was mixed up in it. They hang around with him, all the kids. He lets them play with the guns and uniforms.
Guns and uniforms?
Yeah, he's got a shop down Oxton Road. That's what he sells.
Just out of interest, what sort of car does he drive?
Well, a big flashy one, of course. Flashy, like him.
Like, a BMW, for instance? Donna, does the name John Quincy say anything to you?
John Quincy. Yes, it does. He was involved in some nasty business a couple of weeks back. Beat up an ex-squaddy.
What, was he charged?
No, he wasn't, actually. The squaddy was drunk at the time. When he sobered up, he changed his mind about pressing charges. Michael Tapscott, his name is. No fixed abode.
Well, what was the fight about?
We never could find out. You'd have to ask Quincy. Or better still, ask Tapscott.
Well, I will if I can find him.
Well, there's only so many places the homeless can hang out, Ron.
Well, assuming he's still on our ground, Donna.
True, he might have upped and left for Australia.
Yeah, well, Quincy hasn't, and that's for sure.
Careful how you go with that, officer. We don't want you doing yourself a mischief.
Wouldn't be too difficult with something like this.
It's a ceremonial dagger, and it's legal.
Lethal would be my description of it.
Come on, officer. Knives don't stab people. People stab people. Of course, there are some very vicious people about. Or so I'm told. But I don't do business with that sort.
I think this would be better off inside the shop, don't you? Who buys this stuff?
Collectors. Students of history.
Does it pay?
Are you lot snooping for the Inland Revenue now?
Only asking. Nice motor.
Yeah. I'll get by. Yeah, since you're showing an interest, I got just the thing. A delectable little item. Elegant. Stylish. Set off that smart uniform of yours.
Not quite my taste.
Each to his own. Anyway, you had to be an hero to earn one of these.
Oh. Is that how you got hold of it?
Tarlov. Ah, Sonia, my sweetheart. I've got a statement that I'm sure you would love to type up for me.
You'll be lucky.
What's up?
Someone's been telling tales behind my back. They've convinced Mrs. White that Terry's a criminal, and now she's making out I can't be trusted. It's not fair. I've worked really hard at this job.
Oh, dear.
I'm not commuting to the yard every day. It's miles away. Anyway, my private life's my own business and no one else's.
Yeah, well, you know how tongues wag in this place.
Oh, yeah. I know all about working for the police. You think they can run your life for you.
Well, if she's refusing the transfer, it could be made compulsory, of course.
Yes, if circumstances warranted.
They do. She's going around with a bloke who's virtually got villain tattooed on his forehead.
Well, she won't hear a word against him. Thinks he's the white sheep of the family.
Well, one look at the computer would put her straight.
And, of course, the Data Protection Act doesn't allow us to do that.
That's right. She's going around with a violent bloke and we're not allowed to prove it to her.
It's a tricky one. Barbara, I think this needs to be referred upstairs.
I agree. I'll have a word with Mr. Brownlow.
Michael Tapscott, Ron Smollett, Sun Hill. Can we talk?
Somewhere private, maybe. I want to talk about the bloke who gave you that cut, John Quincy. Michael.
We're about to beat me on record.
Michael! Log off! Look, I just want a word. Why did Quincy beat you up?
Look, I don't want to be seen talking to you.
Has it got anything to do with driving people out of their flats?
You really have got rocks between the ears, haven't you? Pay attention. I'm going to explain the facts of life. There's this thing called the system, right? System. And some people do nicely out of it. Like politicians, businessmen. And the reason they're able to live like princes while the rest of us live like dogs is you. You and your mates keeping the system going for them. And that's why I don't want to be seen talking to you. Got the credibility to think of.
Quincy's driving people out of their homes. Why? So we can move other people in?
Come on. Take it off me. Try and take it off me.
Why is he doing it? Is it for money?
I was going to play for England once. And then I went and fought for England. Out in the Gulf. A land fit for heroes. You can stuff it.
Who's he doing it for?
Squatters.
You mean he's working as some kind of agent for squatters and he got you to help him?
No, you nerk. It was me who had to make way, or in a squat myself. Only I couldn't pay him.
Oh, so he drove you out so he could get some of his clients in?
Oh, yeah, he's a git. But at least he's upfront about it, doesn't give you all that Kellogg's about Queen and country.
That makes it all right for him to exploit you, does it, Michael? Look, who pays for a squat?
Gullible people. Desperate people, foreigners mostly, with their savings in their back pocket. They think he's a council official moonlighting.
How much does he take?
What, he's accountant? As much as they got, 100, couple of hundred.
So, when he's made a property vacant, does he move in straight away?
Well, what do you think? You can't hang about, can he? Squatters might move in.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah. People like me can be useful sometimes, eh?
No, Sonia. I understand that you're not happy with the idea of a transfer to the yard.
No, sir, I'm not. Sunhill's very convenient for me. And besides, I've got to know the people here.
Well, I appreciate it means quite an upheaval, but I was hoping you'd see our point of view.
No, I don't.
Well, your friendship with Terry Leonard puts us in rather a difficult position.
Why? Because he's got a record.
Oh, he's told you?
He's owned up to slashing a few car tyres when he was a teenager.
Ah.
Well, it was years ago. And so what? I know a civilian worker at Barton Street is married to a bloke with a record. Come to that, I know of certain police officers who go drinking with criminals.
Not with official approval, I assure you. I'm sorry you're taking it this way, Sonia. We're trying to be fair, but if you refuse the transfer, we'll have to take that as grounds for dismissal.
Then I'll take it to a tribunal.
Yes. Well, that's up to you to decide.
Yeah. About the only thing in my life I am allowed to decide. Excuse me.
In my view, by associating with a known criminal, she's bringing the police force into disrepute.
A tribunal might not agree.
We could do without the bad publicity. Press would have a field day. Look, Barbara, have another word with her, will you? See if you can make her see reason.
I'll do my best, sir. But unfortunately, love isn't just blind, it's also very stubborn.
When the council found out how much they were losing in rent revenue, they had a crackdown on squatters.
So our Mr. Quincy's filling in the gap. Still, squatting isn't actually illegal.
No, but forcing an entry is. Now, I saw an elderly couple moving out of a flat opposite Pauline Parker's this afternoon. Quincy's bound to move fast, so we might just catch him in the act.
So you're suggesting we set up an oboe in her flat?
No, sir, there are other places we can use.
Hers is a logical choice.
Yes, sir, but it might just put her in a difficult position.
She wants our help, doesn't she?
Yes, sir, but...
Then it's in her interest to cooperate.
Yes, sir.
You see, from your place we can get a good view of the empty flat across the way.
A load of size 12s clomping around in my front room. Still, it's going to get that creep off my back.
Pauline, there is something I've got to tell you. When we mount an observation, we're required to give the exact location in evidence.
In court, you mean?
If the defence asks, which they normally do.
So they're going to know it's me who helped you? Terrific.
It's up to you, Pauline.
Well, it's not just up to me, though, is it? I've got Robbie to consider.
Yeah, well, it was Robbie who nearly got a fractured skull with a flying brick.
If I say no?
We might just catch him without your help.
Yeah. Or he might keep on getting away with it, because people are too frightened to stop him. Right. Somebody better make a stand, I suppose.
It was you, wasn't it? Told Mrs. White about me seeing Terry.
Look.
You had no right. I'm not one of your PCs.
I was seriously concerned about your safety. I happen to know...
Oh, you know everything, don't you? Always sticking your nose in where it don't belong. Well, you'll be pleased to hear I've handed in my notice. Thanks very much.
Sonia.
There's nothing you can say, is there?
Say one thing about that Terry Leonard, son. He might be a slag, but you can't fault his taste in females, huh?
Ever thought of putting a cushion in your mouth, Hollis?
I'm starting to wonder about your hunt run. You could have given this thing a full service by now.
He'll turn up.
Cheers, love. That's great. Thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah. Ran out of proper cups.
We're in business, Narika.
Sierra Oscar 1 for 181 receiving.
Go ahead, Narika.
He's just pulled up outside the flat, sir. He's got 3 lads with him. And he's got a sledgehammer.
Right. Stay with them and see what happens. "181 from Sierra Oscar 1. We're going in."
Stop! Police! John Quincy, I am arresting you for criminal damage. You're not obliged to say anything, but anything you do say will be taken down and may be used in evidence.
Nice work, Ron.
Thank you, sir. Personally, I think I deserve a medal